Hey everybody, with this video I wanted to attack how to create Google Classroom quizzes. And if you don't know how to set up a Google Classroom and you want to learn about that, there's another video in the channel for creating your Google Classroom account and starting to make classes. But if you have some classes made and you're wondering if you want to start assigning assessments and informal or formal assessments, or maybe even taking some summative quizzes and tests through Google Classroom, then watching this video might give you an idea what the Google quizzes are capable of and if that's the way you want to go. All right, so first things first, you go to your Google Classroom page and pick one of your classes. And I'll show you in a second that it doesn't necessarily have to be the only class that's getting the assignment, but it needs to be one of the classes that you want to have the assignment. And then you'll default to the stream. You just want to jump over to the classwork tab real quick, and you'll see this create button here at the top of the screen. So what you can do is you click on that, and you can either create just a regular assignment, in which case you'd give the assignment a title, writing assignment 1, and some instructions maybe. Please complete this writing assignment. You can add more details if you want, whatever you want to the kids to know before they get started. You can also add a number of things. You can add something from your Google Drive, a PowerPoint presentation, or a Word document. You can put in a link to a website if you want them to check out some information online. You can attach a file if you have something on your computer that you would like to attach to the assignment, and if you have specifically a YouTube video that you'd like them to see, you can embed the video right here. Also, if you want to do something like this and it doesn't already exist, you can instead click on create here, and you can create a Google Doc. For instance, if you wanted to make a template or something for the writing assignment, you could create your Google Doc. Give it a moment here. The internet is being taxed somewhat at the moment. All right, so we'll change this to writing assignment 1. And then you could put in some prompts for them, or you can put like student name, section, date, etc. And then you could add in, like, I did this summer. You could put in some prompts or a template or what have you for them to fill out as they get done. And then when you get done, it'll have that. One thing that you definitely want to make sure that you do is change this setting right here. If you have it students can view file, then they will only be able to look at it. So if you had, for instance, a news article that you wanted them to read, or maybe a few examples of the assignment that they're getting ready to do, but you don't want them to change anything, then you have students can view file. Now, if you want them to be able to write on stuff, most of the time you're going to want to skip over this middle one and go to make a copy for each student. Each student will get an individual copy of this document that they can write on, and then when they submit, you'll get a copy for each student. If you make the second option here, students can edit file, then they will be able to make changes, but they'll all be making changes to the same file. So that might be actually useful if you want to do like a group project or a big collaborative like class assignment. If you want to make like a presentation where everybody is working on a couple of slides, but they're all working on the same presentation together, then you want to have it set to Google students can edit file. But most of the time you're going to want to make a copy for each student. From there, you're going to choose who you want to assign it to. So you can choose multiple classes here. You'll notice that this one, the class that I selected to create this assignment, is grayed out, meaning it has to be selected. I'm not sure exactly why, but that's how it works. So make sure, like I said, that whatever class that you choose to create the assignment is at least one of the ones that you want to actually get that assignment. But you can select more than one and even all of your classes and give them all the same assignment. You can also use this menu if you don't want all of the students in that class to get the assignment. Maybe it's a makeup assignment from earlier in the year that only a few people need to do, or maybe, like I said, it's a group project and you want to make a separate version for each group, and then you can send that assignment to the members of that group, and you can toggle them all on with this button at the top. Notice that if you select multiple classes, though, that gets grayed out. So there's no way to customize who's going to get the assignment if you're sending it to multiple classes. If you're doing a shotgun blast, it's just going to go to everybody. But once you've selected who you want to get the assignment and how many points it's going to be worth, you can assign a due date. You can either have that in no due date at all, which means they can turn it in whenever, or you can assign a date in the future somewhere. Or you can just make it tomorrow. You can assign a topic, which we talked about in setting up a Google Classroom. Like this might be what chapter this is part of: 4.1 Weather Basics, Mod 3 Earth Systems, etc. And then you can attach a rubric if you want, a scoring rubric, and go from there. What I really wanted to show, though, was the quiz assignment. So let's X out of this for a second, and instead of creating an assignment, we're going to create a quiz assignment. So same thing, you're going to add a title, test quiz, instructions. If you want to add some additional instructions, you can add additional files. You'll notice that has created a blank quiz form right here. You don't have to use that necessarily. You can X this out and it'll go away. Just be aware that it has created this file in your Google Drive somewhere in the folder for the class that you created the assignment in. So if you X this out and then add some other stuff and then assign the assignment, just remember that that blank quiz form is still sitting there in the folder. So if you go a couple of weeks or a couple of months doing this and you just keep Xing out these little blank quiz forms, you're going to have like, dozens of them in your Google Drive. You'll have to go and clean them all out. So if you don't use this one right here, I recommend you right away go into your Google Drive and find it and delete it so that they don't start to accumulate. I am going to use this one though, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I would set which classes I want and point values and all of that stuff, and then I'm going to click on this quiz to start working on my quiz. Just like our other assignment, you can add additional files to this if you want, or create additional files to add to it. So if I'm getting ready to give a chapter test and I want the students to see maybe a study guide or a video link to a really good summary video, Crash Course or Amoeba Sisters or something like that for my science content, I can add the grades there. So then when I'm ready, I'm going to click on blank quiz. It's going to take me to the Google form. I want to change the title because when we're done, I'll show you that something that might be a little bit weird at first. So I'm going to change this to test quiz and test quiz. You can add additional description from there, and then you're going to start creating questions. All right, so types of questions that you can choose from. You can do a short answer question in which you just say like, what is your favorite color? And then short answer text, they'll be able to write in anything that they want. Okay, so in addition to the short answer responses, you can do paragraph type questions, which allow them a little bit more space to write their response. You can do multiple choice, which is pretty straightforward. You write in a question, they choose the correct response. You can do checkboxes, which is the same as multiple choice, but they might want to add more than one answer. And for those, I recommend, because this won't actually automatically give them any sort of indication that they can select more than one, I recommend putting in the description of the question that check all that apply or choose 4 of the following or something like that. You can do a file upload, which is pretty neat, which allows them to just upload a file type for whatever choice you might have. You can restrict it to specifically a Word document or a spreadsheet or a video, etc. Or you can leave it wide open for them to upload any evidence that they would like for that question. But you can restrict the number of files and the maximum file size as well. You can do drop-down menus, which is just like the one I'm using right now. You'd write a statement that's missing a term or a concept, and then in the options you would write in potential words that would fill that blank, and they would have to use a drop-down menu to select the right one. Linear scale is like gauge this on a scale of 1 to 10. How great is this quiz? And then you can go from 1 to 5, 1 to 10, and you can label 1 as terrible, 10 as fantastic, or what have you. You can do multiple choice grid, which is just like multiple choice questions, but you'll have multiple rows and multiple grids. So you might have red, green, blue, yellow down the rows, and then across the top you might say is primary, or is my favorite, or is my least favorite. So for each row they'll be checking one of the columns. And then multiple choice checkbox grid is again the same thing, except they'll be able to check more than one option for each row. So it might be primary and my favorite color, in which case they'll do the same thing. You still need to add a point value if you want it to be worth any points, and you'll be able to check which ones are correct and hit done. And then you have date and time questions. If you have a question where the response would be in the form of a date or time, you could put it here. When you're done with all of this type of stuff, you have all the questions that you want, and you're going to hit, you're not going to hit send, I should say. You're going to be done with all of this stuff. You can just close this tab and go back to your classroom assignment. And then this will say blank quiz still, which is a little bit confusing. But just know that it will update, but when you hit assign, it will update the name to whatever you changed it to when you clicked on this form. Alright, so then you can hit assign, it'll go to all of your students, and then when you are ready, when you start getting responses, you can go to your drive. You're going to look for the class that the assignment was created in. Look for your practice quiz and click on the Google Forms file. What you should see is something like this, and you can review the questions that you made, and then you can go to your responses. And like I mentioned in another video, when you're looking for individual student responses, you can click on individual here. You'll see the email address of the person who logged the answers, and you'll have them all here. One real quick trick here at the end is actually probably not that secret, but it did take me a few minutes to notice, is that when you're at your Google Classroom page and you've got multiple classes and you've started making multiple assignments, and you're having a hard time keeping track of them all, you can go to the 3 horizontal bars here in the top left corner and click on your to-do list. And what this will do is it'll show you all of the assignments from all of your classes, and it'll just give you the numbers that you've assigned it to and the numbers that have turned in, so that if you see anything in this turned in column right here, so I've got 3 people that are assigned this, but they haven't done it yet, so I'm all set here. But here I've got 1 person who's turned in this assignment, and I haven't graded it yet. So I'll want to go back and click on this and check out their submission and give them a grade for it. And then I can work my way down the list here. I've got 1 to work on here. I've got 4, 2, 3. I've got some homework to do, in other words. All right, I hope this video was helpful for you, and please contact me with any other questions that you have run into if you want me to work on an answer and throw up a video, or if you have found a trick or run into a problem and solved it yourself and you think that it might be useful to other folks, please let me know. Send me an email or a comment, and I'll try to add it to this stream and make it an even better resource for all of us as we work our way through this remote learning process. All right, have a great day.